Welcome to the Animative channel. There's this crazy idea floating around out there that animals don't belong in cities. Maybe they should stick to the country where their ancestors evolved to live. But the more I think about it, the more I realize our cities are turning into jungles and the animals living in them are becoming super smart urbanists. They're evolving right before our eyes. In some ways, city life is tough for wildlife. There's tons of us humans, our buildings, our roads, our noise, and our light pollution. It can be hard for critters to find food and raise their young. But some species have found a way not just to survive in the concrete jungle, but to thrive. And it turns out they're getting smarter as they adapt to city life. Now, these changes didn't happen overnight. These adaptations took hundreds or thousands of years to evolve. And yes, some species have gone extinct because they couldn't keep up with the changes, but these ones have. So let's see what we can learn from them. Let's start with our feathery friends, the pigeons. If you've spent any time in the city, you've probably seen them strutting their stuff, looking for tasty morsels to gobble up. Pigeons have been hanging out with us humans for a long time, since we started raising them for food thousands of years ago. And today you can find feral rock doves, which are the same species as domestic pigeons, all over the world. Now, if you're like me, you've probably noticed that city pigeons seem pretty unafraid of people, and that's because they've evolved to be bold, brazen foragers. Over time, city pigeons have become less skittish and more aggressive, fighting fiercely to claim the best feeding spots. They've also gotten really good at finding food in all sorts of places, including our parks, our sidewalks, and even our subway systems. Researchers have noticed that city pigeons have bigger brains than their rural cousins, which might help them navigate the urban jungle and find all sorts of yummy things to eat. But pigeons aren't the only ones getting smarter. Raccoons are, too. You may have seen these masked bandits rummaging through your trash cans if you live in North America. They've adapted to thrive in cities, like pigeons. They're also great at finding food in all sorts of places, including our gardens, our attics, and even our fish tanks. Raccoons are super smart, curious, and dexterous. They're also known as the ultimate opportunists. They'll eat almost anything, and they're known for their cleverness. People sometimes call them trash pandas because they're so good at opening things. And it turns out that raccoons living in cities are getting even smarter. They're evolving to open more complex latches. That's because city slicker raccoons need to be smarter to get into those higher reward human spaces where there's lots of food. So in cities, raccoons are evolving to be smarter, more bold, more curious. Well, it turns out that squirrels are evolving to be little urban sprinters. Now, this makes sense when you think about it. Squirrels spend a ton of time looking for food and then running away from predators, so being fast is super important for them. And studies have shown that squirrels living in cities tend to be faster than their rural relatives. In fact, scientists have estimated that squirrels in cities evolved to be sprinting machines about 36 times faster than other squirrels. That's almost as fast as Usain Bolt. And it turns out that the squirrels that are the most successful at navigating the urban jungle are the ones that are fast and bold. So it turns out that our cities are really a wild frontier, and the animals that are willing to adapt are thriving here. Animals are evolving to become bolder, smarter, and faster in our cities. And it turns out that we can learn from them. For example, we humans are constantly changing our cities, tearing down old buildings and putting up new ones, digging up the streets, putting in new shops and restaurants, and in the process, we're leaving all sorts of messes behind, while animals that are willing to change and adapt are doing great. The ones that can't keep up are struggling. And it's the same for us humans. We need to be willing to change and adapt to new situations, just like these animals. Otherwise, we might not do so well. We humans are constantly changing the world around us, and it can be tough to keep up, but the animals that are willing to learn new tricks and take risks often end up doing just fine. In fact, they often become super successful. So next time you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all the changes in your life, take a cue from these amazing creatures and remember to stay positive and keep learning. Who knows, you just might surprise yourself with what you're capable of.